Everybody told me Jay was corny and whack. Everybody told me not to with him, and I did it, and look what happened. It's a conspiracy against me, you know. Because, in the absence of the truth, will prevail. So, as long as nobody out there, spitting real, you can come up with anything. How do you listen to a whole album, pick a single, shoot a video, then don't know? Okay, I see what's really good. You trying to eliminate the competition, because at first, you retire. Then get me off the label. Now you're back rapping again. Okay, Dame Dash is back at it again, airing out Jay-Z and his mentor Leah Cohen. And this time he's spilling tea about how these two allegedly teamed up to sabotage DMX. So now fans are on Jay's case again, calling him out on his hypocrisy where he acts like he's all about the culture and elevating black artists, when in fact he has a long history of cutting his people down to get ahead. And now Dame is pulling back the curtain and dropping more details on how Jay and Lear allegedly took down and sacrificed black artists to climb the ladder, including DMX. But the worst part, DMX saw what they were doing and he spoke up about it. But sadly, no one listened until it was too late. The industry, man, it's not the same. Doesn't have to do with talent, it's about playing the game. The industry real minor is dying to get in the industry just to find they don't fit in. So, we all know Dame Dash has had a one-sided beef with Jay-Z for years, and while a lot of people have accused Dame of being bitter and obsessed with Ovi, if you ask Dame, the problem is much bigger than that. See, Dame has spoken about this many times, but it rarely gets reported on correctly. According to him, the main issue is not just Jay-Z, but the people Jay chose to team up with. People like Lear Cohen. And for Dame, these executives like Cohen make money off black culture while at the same time pushing an agenda to paint that culture as backwards and dangerous. And DMX was one of the first to notice this and speak on it publicly. Now, to give you some background, when Jay took over as president of Def Jam Records in 2004, replacing Leah Cohen, he gained full control of Roc-A-Fella's catalog and basically pushed Dame and Biggs out. And for Dame, the hardest part wasn't just losing the label. It was seeing Jay betraying his own people and letting Lear use him like a puppet. My beef was with Lear because I think he's a fake CEO and I think he's fronting on my culture, but he can't front on anybody else. You know what It was like they have people that their job is to create beef so that they can monetize it. Pause. But they don't let their culture feel it. And one artist Dame felt Jay totally threw under the bus was DMX. Now, of course, Jay never admitted this, and he dismissed it as just DMX being super competitive. After X died, Jay showed up on LeBron James' show, and he claimed there was never any bad blood between them, and X simply loved to compete. It was a competitive thing, but it was big love. He was so competitive with me. I never met a human being more competitive than me, like ever, not even my big brother. But here's the thing. According to DMX, it was Jay who was always caught up in the competition. See, when Jay became president of Def Jam, DMX was already a huge star with 5 #1 albums to his name. But according to X, once Jay took over, he started getting in his way. X talked about this on The Breakfast Club, and he claimed Jay sabotaged him because he changed his mind about retirement and wanted to clear out the competition before making his big return. Then don't know. H. Okay, I see what's really good. You trying to eliminate the competition, because at first you retire. Then get me off the label, now you back rapping again. Okay. But there's more to why DMX didn't trust Jay, and it had a lot to do with Jay's connections to the real shot callers in the industry. See, DMX was very vocal about shady executives like Leah Cohen, and he believed they had way too much power over the artists. A lot of the love I had for wanting to be a part of industry is not there anymore. I don't even associate myself with the industry. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an industry artist, I'm an artist in the industry. Jay-Z, on the other hand, was playing the industry game from day one. And he got real tight with Lear, even calling him his mentor in his book Decoded. Here's a direct quote from the book. Lear Cohen, who I consider my mentor, once told me something that he was told by a rabbi about the 8 degrees of giving in Judaism. The highest level of giving, the 8th, is giving in a way that makes the receiver self-sufficient. Now knowing what we do about Jay-Z and Lear and the shady moves they allegedly made to stack their money, it's kind of wild hearing them talk about being all generous and selfless. But who exactly is Leah Cohen? And what's his place in hip-hop? Well, the basics are on his Wikipedia. Born in NYC to Israeli immigrants, he's been a major power player in the music industry, especially in hip-hop, for over 30 years. He started managing rappers at Rush Productions, then moved up at Def Jam, eventually ran Warner Music Group, and after leaving in 2012 launched his own label, 300 Entertainment. More recently, he became YouTube's global head of music. But this is where things start to get shady. There's this long-running theory that Leah might be some kind of intelligence agency plant, using his insider ties to push a certain agenda in hip-hop. So, why do people think this? Well, for one, Leah has been caught lying about his background more than once, especially when it comes to his parents and his origins. During his appearance on Vlad TV in October 2023, Leah was asked about his mom, and at first he said she was just a housewife. But later in the same interview, he let it slip that she actually worked for the Israeli government, and even helped him land a job at the National Bank of Israel. Incredible parents. 3 other brothers, and just a loving, happy family. My dad was the head of psychiatry for Kaiser Permanente, and my mother was just a housewife and raising children, and remarkable period of my life. Now, I've always assumed that you were born in Israel because you have a slight accent when you speak. Have you heard this before? Yeah. So my parents weren't immigrants because they weren't staying here. Okay. So my biological father was coming here just for his education, and my mother worked for the Israeli government. And so when I was born, I went straight back to Israel. Oh, so you stayed there for a while. I spent my first 3 years in Pakikva. On top of that, Lear's no stranger to controversy, and it's easy to see why Dame Dash has called him a culture vulture. To give you just one example, when Lear showed up on the Breakfast Club, he talked about the opioid crisis and even brought up DMX, claiming he was heartbroken over X's battle with addiction. But when Charlemagne asked why he keeps signing artists to glorify substance use, especially during an opioid epidemic, Lear basically said that's how the business works. Had a real bad drug problem, DMX. I'm so sad. DMX. There's 2 people inside of him, and the Earl is one of the nicest people. I put him up in Lake George. Earl loved being silent with a fishing pole. You not? He just would stay on that dock hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah. Very, very sad. I think the opioid problem, the syrup problem, is the biggest problem that I've ever seen and I've ever faced and been a part of. And I can't win with it. The crack thing was devastating, but at least the rappers were bringing a spotlight to you becoming a fiend. Okay. And I thought that was that spotlight. Head crack, helped, even though it was harsh and really really rough, particularly on women. But I think it helped change the course of the crack epidemic. I don't know. What's this opioid thing, man? Is being told you back then being a crackhead wasn't cool. Now they seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup, and it's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society. So why sign an artist that would promote that? Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I can't give up on people. I'm saying that's hypocritical, though. You're saying it's opportunistic. Yeah. I got people to feed. I got a business to run. You're going to make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture. Who's Dame Dash? And get this. When Charlemagne mentioned Dame calling him a culture vulture, Leia got all belligerent and claimed he didn't know who Dame is. Who's his name? Dash. You brought him up. I don't even know him. So, you bring him his name. I don't even know him. So, y'all made a lot of money together. Made a lot of money. Come on, Leo. Don't do that to him. I don't know him. I really don't. So, okay, Mariah. But for Dame, this was just confirmation that he was right about Leia all along. Dame clapped back on Instagram, writing, "Thanks for this, liar Cohen, for proving my point in true culture vulture form. They make money off of us and then try to erase our true history and act like the real ones never existed. He pays his bills at the expense of us." But this next part is where it gets spooky. Dean claims that as soon as he started calling out Leia in public, the police suddenly got involved, which only added more fuel to those rumors about Leia having ties to intelligence. Man, I was hearing too much police talk, and that's that. And I ain't feel like being involved. So leave me the parents alone and keep my name out your mouth. You no longer have beef with me, so leave me alone. Now, let's get into how Leia disrespected DMX at his own funeral. DMX's memorial took place in Brooklyn on April 25, 2021, and Leia didn't even show up. Instead, he sent a video where he talked about how nobody was shocked that DMX allegedly OD'd, and he called X a gremlin who crashed into a wall. Think about this. Lear actually recorded this message to be played at DMX's funeral. It's like he was mocking his death. And this is the guy Jay-Z calls his mentor. No wonder DMX wanted nothing to do with these people. See, unlike Jay, X was one of the loudest voices when it came to exposing all the shady moves in the music business. X even said he was blackballed because he refused to play by the industry's rules and turned down invites to dinner with the executives. And then in his track, The Industry, X exposed how the music business really works and how young talent gets screwed over once they step into the game. Also, let's not forget DMX said the devil came to him more than once. And he knew it was the devil every time because what was offered sounded good on the surface, but came with some weird conditions. You've had a song on every album, a conversation, with God. You've had, and a prayer. And a prayer. And I think you've had three conversations with the devil. Why with the devil? Well, to make a fair decision, I think you have to be aware of both sides. And I was approached. So of course I had a conversation. It doesn't mean I rode with him. Sure. Or believe him. I just was able to recognize him by what he said to me and what he offered me and say, "Oh, now I know you are." That's why I stopped talking to him. I put out 7 albums, but he's only on 3. Now, circling back to Dame Dash, people often criticize him for being stuck in the past and always dragging up Jay-Z. And yeah, that's a fair point to some degree. But according to Dame and plenty of others in the industry, a way bigger problem is how most artists are too scared to speak out against Jay. It's like the moment you say something, you're labeled as washed up, bitter, or jealous. And that's exactly what happened to DMX when he tried to share his side. When he went on The Breakfast Club and talked about how Jay sabotaged his album, everyone threw shade at X, calling him bitter and saying Jay was just the better businessman. But now that X is gone, suddenly everybody's ready to admit he was telling the truth. And that's why a lot of fans are now defending Dame and saying that while he may be petty, at least he's not scared to say exactly how he feels about Jay-Z. One fan said that's been the running theme when it comes to Dame. Every time someone asks him a question about Jay and he responds, the comments always saying, "Why is he always talking about Jay?" The Twitter folks are very bad with this as, well, they try to make Dame out to be the bad guy. And then someone else added, "I miss DMX, kept it 100 all the time." Everything he said about these lames in the industry is coming out like a flood that can't be stopped. He would be cooking these weirdos right now. Rest in power, X. But I want to hear what you think. Is Dame going too far? Always calling out Jay? Or is it a good thing that someone in the industry is finally bold enough to speak the truth? Drop your thoughts below, and I'll catch you in the next video.